Yeah, so we're a gold development company with an extremely high-grade asset, Ana Paula in Mexico. It's had over $75 million on it, and we're turning it into Mexico's next underground gold mine. Yeah, size and grade. So we recognised the market was pretty tough late last year, and you could buy ounces cheaper than you could discover them. So we went and bought Ana Paula. It's got intercepts in it like 100 metres at 10 grams, 240 metres at 9 grams. They're exceptional. Yeah, so when we bought it at the beginning of this year, it was an open pit target with an open pit mindset. And we looked at those intercepts and said, this is going to make a lot more money and be a lot more capital efficient as a high grade underground. So we focused on rescoping and drilling that off. And just last week, we saw some really nice growth targets. So another parallel panel 50 metres to the north and a whole set of growth targets. This is open at depth. We think there's a lot more high grade gold to come from Ana Paula. Yeah, so we've got an extremely strong portfolio. Clearly, Ana Paula is the flagship. We've got effectively a call option on San Antonio, a home run heap leach project in Baja Sur. It's worth a lot of money with a permit, or it's worth next to nothing without. And so we've got 3 years to get that permit. And Unga remains a great growth project. It's a project in Alaska that's 400,000 ounces at 14 grams. We've owned it since 2020. We think it's got a lot of potential. It's just tough capital markets to advance all projects together. So our current focus is on Ana Paula, but it's a really deep bench of properties. So we've got a really catalyst-rich next couple of months. We've got drill results to come out late this month, early next month. One of the big ones for us is network. We've been very conservative with our metallurgy. We think there's quite a bit of upside to come from there. And then the biggest catalyst is the resource update in early November. So that's going to draw the line in the sand for what we think is possible as a high-grade underground. And so then exploration on top of that. It's going to be a very busy back end of the year. Good question. I think one of the best lessons I ever learnt in my very early days was that the ounces you don't pay for are the cheapest ounces you'll ever buy. And it came from an old boss of mine at Newcrest, the big Australian gold company. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense. Every dollar you pay for an ounce comes straight off the margin. You're never going to keep that profit. It's gone to someone else. So if you find deposits that grow and get bigger and bigger, you keep all that profitability. And that's why we like projects like Ana Paula, Unga and San Antonio. The lows seem not as tough in Australia as they do here in Canada. I think two things. There's too much of an IR business in Canada. You need more of those dollars going to real management teams and real projects. And the other is there's this sort of disconnect in why should a small company try to become a developer or there's a sense that you're an idiot if you want to build a mine. And I think that takes away, forgetting the capital cost part of it, it takes away the true ownership part of it, where people aren't scoping and studying a project as if they're going to be on the hook for the results. And so I think it leads to a slightly carelessness that leads to lost money, which leads to shareholders moving away from these companies. So I think a bit more of an ownership delivery mindset might exist in Australia that doesn't exist here in Canada. And that's why we're trying to do something different at Heliostar. If you're a skeptical mining investor, just look at the grades and widths that we've got. No one else, or very, very few companies in the world can deliver those kind of projects. Cash flow is all about grade, and we've got very wide widths at very high grade. That's going to, we believe, lead to very strong cash flow. If you're not from the industry, think of what we're doing as just a straight execution story. We're rescoping into a feasibility study. We believe we'll be the next gold mine in Mexico. So even if you're sort of agnostic on commodities, back a team that's going to deliver and build Mexico's next gold mine. We're moving really quickly in Ana Paula, and we're making every post a winner. Delivering strong results, new growth targets, networks looking. We're encouraged to see that at the end of this month. Resource update. The speed at which we move and the grade that we have, I think, sets Ana Paula and Heliostar apart.